Oui, mais pas vraiment possible de voir l'écran. Pas vraiment possible.
Une chaise.
On ne peut pas le rapprocher un peu? Non? Peut-être qu'il faut rapprocher un peu plus.
Mais en fait, c'est parce que c'est trop lumineux.
Oui, différence de tu vas pouvoir le régler sur le vidéo, ça. Il n'y a pas un bouton pour la luminosité sur le Android. Je l'ai fait là.
Sinon,
Il y a volume, mais
Tu l'as réglé.
ouais, c'est le volume.
mais les deux autres boutons.
Ah, c'est pas parce que. Comment?
Ouais, mais le différentiel de luminosité sur le film.
Bon, bah écoute, éteins, et puis de toute façon,
Ouais,
quand tu vas parler,
c'est
on
ça.
va entendre ce que
Ouais.
tu vas dire.
Ouais,
Pour
Puis tu
définir.
partageras la présentation avec les gens.
c'est ça. Je ne sais pas vraiment si quelqu'un regarde ces trucs-là au YouTube. Je ne pense pas. Je ne pense pas que quelqu'un regarde ça. Ah, c'est bon quand même. Après 50 minutes de retard, désolé pour toutes les choses, mais on mange pendant le temps aussi. Donc, so I do it in English to practice the presentation. This is more a story about the first article we're working with, and now I will present it in April, so it's a big general view. So I don't know exactly how long it will take, but the day I should do it in 10 minutes, so it's not exactly the same, but it's a good way to explain my project. And this was the idea before. When we planned to present in January, it was to present my project completely. We didn't have the answer of the conference, so now it's a new approach, but I guess it will work. So this presentation is more thinking a little bit what Samuel likes to do, and he was talking a lot last time about not preparing any slides. You guys were there, and I was thinking about the pro and con and how to do an intermediate between the two worlds. Preparing something, not just arriving here, trusting in my creativity, but also allowing the people to participate and not just throwing a lot of information as we could do in slides. Like I can put a lot of information here, it will be impossible to understand. So I'm trying to get the both of the two. So the first thing, we should understand this title and I discussed about it. I know we are eating, but I really wanted some discussions about the project. And I'm here on this site to be able to write a little bit. So you can write a little bit and we do more dynamic presentation, completing the slide with some writings too. So the first thing is say what comes in your mind in one word when you listen the word engagement. When you hear engagement, one word, what comes to your mind? Don't think a lot, you don't have 1 minute to think, just say whatever comes to your mind when you listen the what?
Participation.
Participation. I'll try to write here. Participation.
Volunteer.
Volunteer. Okay. I don't know how to write this. Here, you don't know how to write it. Okay.
Motivation.
Motivation.
Team.
Team. Do you have any word then?
Decision.
Decision. Okay. Okay, so some words about engagement, and I put some examples too. But when we see some words about engagement, the first question, not just us are thinking about it, but a lot of people are thinking about it. It's engagement as a state, like I'm engaged now, and we can see motivation as a state, I guess, as a moment. It's motivation. I'm motivated today, but it's hard to be motivated every day. So I maybe I'm not motivated tomorrow, but team is something. It's more like, okay, we are a team, and we will always be a team. Just after we are separated to different ways, but it's something more as an attribute. Something that we are thinking about engagement is this division between a state and an attribute. And I put some examples too. You keep these examples here, but this is what I'm writing before. And as a moment, employee engagement as a moment or as an attribute. So something that will keep long, or will stay for just some moments. Participation, and you put it here, focus, innovation, teamwork. Well, teamwork could be we are working we have a teamwork feeling, or I'm very individual. So this was I'm thinking about teamwork feeling, a spirit of teamwork. And related to this first question we had is the uh, different points how we talk about engagement at work. Sometimes we say happiness at work. What is the difference about being engaged and to be happy at work, or be satisfied, or even some measures that are very known as a great place to work. So what is the difference between if the person is engaged, we have satisfaction at work, we are in a great place at work. So when some company put in a market style, this is one of the great place to work, it means, or they want to pass the message, then people there are engaged. We are engaged there. And this was the one of the first problems we were discussing about engagement. How we define it. We define it as a moment or as attribute. If we define as a moment, we can see something very specific here. Here it's not easy to see, but it's day 1 and day uh, 30. But just as example, if we believe as employee engagement as a moment, we probably have this high peak of engagement and a low peak of engagement. And we change it a lot. If we think engagement as attribute, someone is engaged at work, for sure, some days it will go down a little bit more, but the engagement is going up continuously, and going a little bit down for a moment, but normally going up as attribute. So we increase the engagement as a knowledge, let's say, because I'm learning more how to be engagement. And as the moment I learn something and I have more opportunities, opportunities, moments to put the engagement on area, like there in my work, it will increase continuously. So the first, after this first discussion, we were thinking, okay, how we believe as engagement here in our discussion. What do you guys think? What it makes more sense for us? For there is no right answer, wrong answer. If you think an engagement, you think more in a moment, or as an attribute? What do you think?
Attribute.
Okay, attribute. You guys think attribute? Good. Okay. In general, people believe engagement more as a moment, and we will see why they do this. The way they measure it as a moment. This is the main point about the actual moment, the actual measurements of engagement. And we should remember that this research is about measuring the engagement. So the first way, or the general way of measuring engagement today is as a moment. Why? Why they do this? Because why we believe in it, it's not like a clear, but it's something we believe it based on research, not just our research, but in the literature review. The most famous way to measure engagement today is the Gallup Q12. So Gallup Q12, as the name stands of, is 12 questions about your workplace. And it's a survey, very easy to do. We have an example here, then we could practice. The questions are free or available. And what this company does is they send the question, they analyze the answers, and they will say if you are engaged, not engaged, or actively disengaged. Actively disengaged. So the 12 questions are split on these four areas: basic needs, individual needs, teamwork needs, and personal growth needs. And we can see why we can see it's the moment, because once you analyze a survey, you answer a questionnaire, you are answering your feelings in that moment. If I'm really happy at my week, if I'm really happy at my work today, I will be a very happy moment answering the question. I will give good answers. If I just discussed with my supervisor, I could have some bad answers too, because I'm angry with my supervisor just right now. But what they say is this questionnaire answers a general view of a good place to work, an engaged place to work. I have an example. How can I click here? Okay, let's see. Let's try to see this short video that everyone knows, or everyone. It's very famous movie, and think how would this employee answer the questionnaire, the Q12, if everyone could see it.
5, more speed, 47. Really fantastic. Really fantastic. Hey! Quit stalling. Get back to work. Go on.
That's it. I have 2 questions about this video board.
There's no such thing as a perfect writer. Listen.
2 questions about this short video. Are the employees engaged?
Maybe not.
What do you think? If we think as, engaged as we discussed it before, are they engaged or not?
So I'm not very concerned by the job. I'm looking for any possibilities to not work.
But they were, so maybe the other person are two related. Are they working hard?
Yes.
So engaged means working hard or not? It's related, be engaged and work hard. If you're engaged, do you work hard?
Yes, but
Yeah.
so
they
the
are-
opposite is not true. You can work out being engaged.
You can work hard without being engaged. So the second question is related to this one. If the employer is there, they answer this questionnaire here. We have questions here. If they answer this questionnaire, maybe we can try to answer a little bit, thinking as the employee there. So the first one is, I know what is expected of me at work. They know it.
Yeah.
It was really clear what they need to do, right? So we put here 5. No. No. Okay. I have the materials and equipment. I need to do my work right. Yes, strongly agree. At work, I have opportunity to do what I do best every day. Now it's a little bit more complicated. It's hard to know maybe. So what we should put 5, 3, because they were doing good, I guess. I guess he was doing. It's not the best he can do. He can do it live, but was doing something. So what we should put? 3 is a good answer.
Yeah.
The last 7 days have I received recognition or praise for doing good work? So this one I don't think so. So probably strongly disagree. My supervisor or someone at work seems to care about me as a person?
No.
No. Definitely no. Even if the guy goes to the washroom, there's a camera there. So there is someone at work who encouraged me my development. Well, I think so. Because I don't know if development, but working hard, so it's different. Development, no. Because I don't know if the guys are progressing there. They're probably doing the same thing their whole life. Right? So we could strongly disagree. At work, my opinion seem to count? No. No. Of course. Mhm. Mhm. The mission or purpose of my company makes me feel my job is important. I don't know if they know it. I don't think so. One again. My associates or fellow employees are committed to doing quality work.
Probably.
Hello, my friend. Yes, we have food, we have presentation. Take a plate and a place too. So, my associates or fellow employees are committed to doing quality work. Yes? I guess yes. We could put well, not all of them. Sometimes they're like not working as hard as they can, but maybe we could put 4 here. I have a best friend at work. We don't know. It's not possible to know. And I put 3 just to maybe they have a best friend, but you know. And this too is really hard too. In the last 6 months, someone at work has talked to me about my progress. I don't think so. I put 1. Last year, I have had opportunities at work to learn and grow. No. So we cannot exactly see the state effort after submit here, but based on this one, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have at least 7 strongly disagreed, and it's actively not engaged. And we have some 2 3s, 4, and just 2 5s. So based on this questionnaire, for sure the guys there are not engaged, as you guys answered. So in 1936, when this movie was done, talking about engagement was really hard because no one was interested in it. And the tools and the job was very specific. I'm doing this the rest of my life. Maybe we don't need to go 80 years ago, just not my parents, but my grandfather for sure, he was doing the same thing his whole life. So just few generations ago, talking about engagement like this was really hard. If we think in a personal, a normal work or a job opportunities today, where we have all these things here, the point with this questionnaire, how it would change according my own mood, how it would change according my relation with my boss during a specific day. And when we think, when we discuss about it, when we think about it, and other researchers discuss about it, thinking in an engagement as a moment, as I'm working hard these days or today, is not the best way of doing, but it's more a thinking of attitude or attribute along the time. One example, one researcher did was relating about relating engagement with maturity. of a teenager. If the teenager, we cannot say if it's a teenager, he has maturity. Just because he's answering a questionnaire, I'm doing the right thing. I'm able to take my car or the car of my father on Friday night because I'm answer here and I'm mature enough. The parents, our parents, for sure my parents, they will trust me after some actions. And how the actions will define the engagement. So here on Cimar-Lab, we believe on this too. After the research, we believe in actions that counts to define if we are engaged or not, and engagement as something we could learn or we can give the opportunity to someone to have. In that case of the movie, the point with the movie is it was really hard to be engaged on that situation. We saw 3 minutes movie and we defined it here the guy was not engaged. But the same guy, if he was working here in Cimar-Lab and if we believe it's everything good here, he could be the same person engaged or not. So the environment could change how the person could be engaged or not. And these attitudes, the open of opportunity can create a person more engaged. Based on it, we also did a definition of employee engagement. So inside all the definitions that we have, and there are a lot of definitions of engagement, we decided to do 1, 2, because we are creating a model to measure engagement. So this definition is related to our model. Thinking or saying what we are saying, how engaged works, we do this 4 lines definition to understand, to stand for it. Okay, our model is related to this definition here. So thinking about actions, what are the words that can represent actions here in this definition? Can we find some words who's related to actions? What do you guys think? Drink water, right? So my friend here, you are asking a lot. You need a participation.
What actions are you talking about?
Okay, so let's improve the question. In this definition, what words represent or could indicate an action of the employee? So thinking about an employee, so what words here can help us to understand, okay, actions helps on engagement.
Aims.
Aims, okay.
Aims or objective.
Yes, objective, yes.
Improvement opportunities.
Improvement opportunities. Dedicate.
Support.
Support. Okay, present support. Sure. Search. So, good. What? We put some verbs and let's see. I put some examples here too. I put some examples and it's some kind related to what you guys said. So to search for improvement opportunities, grown. So how we think then the engagement is something we can grow as person. The company, we desire the growth of the company, and we can see our own growth along with the company. So he dedicated working hours not just to perform the individual goals, but to search improvement opportunities to support the mission and vision of the company. So the point with this is once we understand and we can help the company uh, to increase, to improve, as we can understand that I'm working not just with individual goals, but I'm working for the company as a whole, I can learn how to grow with the company. And I can learn how to improve the company and improve myself too. So based on this, based on this, based on this definition, we started to think how we could measure actions. How could we measure the workplace as a whole without any need to be a survey and ask the guy, are you engaged or not? So without having a bias, then this is a company measuring engagement. We want to see how engaged you are. So to do this, we are asking you, are you engaged or not? So we don't wanna do this. We wanna avoid this scenario and measure the engagement through actions. And the first idea, and it seems a long time we had this idea, but it was the first idea to measure the engagement, was to compare with the predator versus prey model. So why we are comparing this model? Not because we think the company is forest or it's a competition and want to kill anyone else. We don't think our partner is my prey and I should kill another department. But we compare this with a different view of the company. So before understanding how we compare it, just understand what is the predator prey. So we have different set of differential equations. So we can compare two simple populations. It's a model, so as a model, it just represents a reality. It's very simple. It's not exactly how it works. The predator-prey model, it's not exactly how it works outside, because of simple assumptions. The predator population will grow exponentially when predator is absent. This is not exactly real because there are a lot of variables, and we count how the prey will grow, not just because if the food is there or not, he will not grow independently if we have a predator or not. Is an important assumption, but it's not a just only case. But it's a simplest case of two populations. The same thing, the predator will starve if we don't have prey. Predators can consume infinite quantities of prey. So this is not real. Any of this are completely real in the real world, and it's not also completely false. And so this is to summarize the problems with this tree one. There is no environmental complexity. It's a very simple model, and we want to bring this simple model to a company. A company is also a complexity environment, so we are doing a model to understand in the simplest case. So how we compare it? We compare people, oh, just to see the the variables of the predator-prey model and the variance between this. So here, a balanced model or two populations in a balance, we will have this behavior. This behavior are more similar to each one of these graphs here. The behavior of a balanced predator-prey. This one, it's similar to each one here. very simple question in
That's what it's.
the first one. So it's another a bit of problem of this predator-prey model, because we are working here with a balance population too. We need a balance. We don't want to kill anyone, because once you kill the predators, the prey will grow exponentially, and one day they will die too, because there's no enough food. And once you kill all the prey, the predator will die too, because there is no one to eat. So for this model, the good point is the balance. For us, we also need a balance in some way. So how we compare it? Our first model compare the predator as a workers. So here, the first one, actually we start with the prey. So we start with the prey. We compare prey with problems in the company. Problem. Not exactly another department, because it's not a competition between people, but a problem. And how we define problems here? We define problems as something we should do and we could not do for some reason. So if we have a goal here, now we are measuring just in time, but if we have a goal of doing something in five hours, and you do your real time in 8 hours, the problem here is it's equal 3 hours, because it's this difference. So we needed to understand what is a problem in a company. We need to understand if the goal is correctly done, if the guys did a good goal, a real goal, and why the guy are doing in 3 hours, in 8 hours, not 4 or 5. How can we reduce this time? So to reduce this time here, we work with our department here, work with continuous improvement projects or actions to give the people opportunities to participate. So the predator here, who will search or hunt the problems, here are the workers, but the workers are time, as we are working in this model with time, is the time of continuous improvement, the time dedicated to the continuous improvement. So we dedicate time to continuous improvement. We dedicate time understanding the problems and performing actions to reduce this problem as the way to reduce the prey. Differently of a real model of predator-prey, then we could have extinction. The prey could die completely. We don't believe then the problems could die completely. The company will always have problems to search. No matter how much we work with, we always have problems to do. And once all the problems are zero here, if we have all the problems here, we have another 2 problems to work with. How to keep this in a good way, how we keep this as 0, and how we could reduce the goals to a lower state. Until now, it's clear. Yeah, because the last part of the presentation is exam, so we find everything. Not just kidding, but this point is, we are comparing the 2 predator-prey with problems and continuous improvement time the workers are performing. So this was the idea we developed to measure engagement. And why? We are comparing what is the trigger to say then that was a good model. Because as we saw before, this is more representing a moment, then we don't agree a lot. It's very simple model, then it's not exactly representing the real world as all the models. So we have a lot of points to not use this model. But the main point to use this model is the energy and how could we compare this energy with engagement. Energy here is the predator efficiency and turning food in the offspring, conversion efficiency. So the energy is the something that keeps motivating the predator to keep hunting the problems, the prey. So when we saw it, this was the click to see what is the energy in a real company. What could motivate the employee to keep searching for problems, keep searching or keep doing continuous improvement actions? What do you guys think? The $1 million question. What is the energy in our model? It also starts with E. It's the main word we are discussing today. Engagement. Great. Matthew, say something, please.
You just said that like 30 seconds ago.
Good. Good.
So you didn't understand the whole-
Good. So maybe the question was not clear. Yes, but okay. This was a practice. Which we do better to do a better link. But the point with this model is we have an energy variable, then keep the workers, the predators searching for prey, keep them alive, searching for prey. And we also have this on our model, define it as an engagement. So how could we measure the engagement based on the relation of these two first equations? These two first equations will just define this balance, the balance between problems and workers. And the third equation will measure the engagement or measure the energy that we need to keep searching for problems. So this system, although it's a model that just simulate the reality, could understand better how the engagement motivate the people and how the continuous improvement actions motivate the people. So after defining these points, define these questions or these equations, we performed it in a real continuous improvement project without asking them anything about engagement. So the way we do here in Cimar-Lab, I don't know if it's the most, if it's the best way to do it, but we try to apply our research in a continuous improvement project and understand a continuous improvement project in a different way. We did this in Wajax. So you did a continuous improvement class, Samuel course? You never did this, huh? So Samuel course, we do the study case. You did it now? So then, so
That's a quick description.
yes. So 2 years ago, 3 years ago, so 2 years ago, we did a project at Wajax. It's a company in Wausau, and it's a continuous improvement project. They never asked us about engagement. They never ask us, oh, I have an engagement problem here. Actually, they don't believe in it. They don't think it's just a lot of operators, not as much as the industry, but 80 years, because we saw a movie about the Charlie Chaplin modern times. So it's not exactly the same. It's very different one, but it's operators. They don't ask about a vision, and they don't ask about it. So we did a continuous improvement project. We start to search with this model, to analyze the data, to apply this model. And we got some interesting results, I guess. So now it's really hard to see. Huh? There is another line here, but no one can see it. No, no. Yeah. Neither do I here, actually, because it's yellow, so it's a point to change the line. The line should be changed. How could you see? It's kind of important. Okay, this is where we are testing it. I will tell the conclusions. So we applied the model. We defined the equations. We do it a model. We coded the model, and we started to gather data from the company. This was before the project started. A very positive point of this company was they had this clear measure before the time of doing something, of the objective of doing something, and the real time the operator did. So it was easy to take the data and apply in our model. So before the project, 6 months before the project, we just took the data was there ready, and we got these results here. What do we see here? Right? We cannot read. We can see, but I have this. So the first one that you cannot see is the average time of continuous improvement. We cannot see it here, but and here you can see a little bit. Right? A blue, very light blue, is the time of the problem of the company. And on this second, so here we just measure how much they were dedicating in continuous improvement and how much problem they had in the company. We decalate a little bit more. We have a decalation here of 3 weeks, because when you apply a continuous improvement action here, it will not exactly reflect in the reducing the problem on the exactly right moment there. So we decalate a little bit. So when you perform a process improvement action here, we could see the results we thought 3 weeks after. So if here it's 1st of February, 1st of February will be here. Why? Because when you do an action here, it will reflect on your time a few weeks after. Okay? So what we see here before our project was not a lot of time of continuous improvement. And here was a lot of days below the goal or the average they did. So a lot of days they never did continuous improvement because there is no project. No one was talking about continuous improvement. What do we consider? They had a specific time then input. They have a time organizing their material. And we thought it as a continuous improvement project before the project. So it was the consideration. And a specific time of problems here. The second graph is the first analysis taking the model to smooth the line. So we have a lot of peaks here, and it's really hard for any manager to do, okay, here, this day specifically, I need to do 7 hours of continuous improvement. It's impossible for any manager to do a high peak like this. So this second graph was to smooth and say, how could we do a more balanced continuous improvement project along the time and avoid the peaks? And how could it reflect on this data, on the number of the problems? So with these two graphs here, what we have here is the time we need to do so this is the simulated data before the project. What it means here, what is the result here? The answer of the model is working as you are working right now, how many hours of continuous improvement you need to do to reduce your problems to a specific goal. Then we put here 2.5, 2.3 hours. So without any project, without any continuous improvement project, we defined a goal of problems. And we said to arrive, to get this goal here, what you need to do. And we have a lot of peaks of 10 hours per a couple of days of continuous improvement because they're not doing anything. So they have a lot of days below the average. So here you have a lot of peaks. So this was before the project, and we started to do a step-by-step continuous improvement project, and we measure the point before during the project, but this is the measurement during the project. I made this after the project, but here is during the project. What we can see here, or we cannot see, but I can tell, and trust me, we have a lot of days that are over the average. So here's the average, or the goal of the continuous improvement time, and we have a lot of days over it. Before, the amount of days here, the number of days that we have more than the average is way bigger than before the project. Before the project, we had a lot of days here and some really high peaks here. So during the project, we had more consistency, or more something going along the project in a continuous way, not just in a peak. The problem is, then this is the real data. The problem is the number of problems also increased. So when we did more continuous improvement projects, actually the number of problems are increasing, not reducing. So it was a big problem for us because our objective was to reduce the number. So what we're saying is, once I do continuous improvement project, my problems will reduce. If not, I don't need to do any continuous improvement. But here they were doing more, and the problems are going up too. So we had this problem to think on the first graph. Here is just a smoothie way then we use to analyze the data. And the second, the third graph then is the answer, the simulation got us a good answer actually, because the problem we found and the number of problems are increasing, the number of continuous improvement are increasing, and the number of problems are also increasing. So why we did this? The simulated data, the simulated model show us then to arrive at the goal, then it is possible to arrive at the goal of two hours doing a lot of continuous improvement data, but the space here was bigger. The space between days here are way bigger than before the project. What do we understand with the results here? The continuous improvement, the way we are doing, it will reduce the number of problems, but the impact is longer, it's larger than the 3 weeks that we put. 3 weeks to have between my action of continuous improvement and the impact of it, just 3 weeks are not, they're not enough. In 3 weeks, working with continuous improvement, actually we have more problems because I'm working in something and the impact is not that fast. But the point we have more days working on the continuous improvement, the more days, the quantity of days having more time in continuous improvement, it will help us to keep the line there. So in long term, it will help us more than 3 weeks. Analyzing these points or some conclusions about it. Some conclusions about it is we can use the measure, the classic measure method when we see it is the Q12. So we can use it for some specific points of engagement. But this one is a dynamic method to understand how much the people are working with, how much they are. We can measure it with the continuous improvement in the quality production. So if we compare the Q12 with the system of equations, we can see the relations and the balance between the two models. And the questions we need to understand for keep going with the, so to keep going with the project, with the questions is the pressure or the project of continuous improvement, asking them to do more continuous improvement time, also increase the overtime, because we saw it in the data, but we are not sure if it's related or not. So how define we should, how to define how much time used in the continuous improvement we reduce. This is more the distance actually, how we can define the impact of a continuous improvement along in the project. It was not 3 weeks, but how can we define it? And what is the behavior of these two populations after the project? Now, we are trying to, we are still working with this model engagement and try to adapt it to a new situation, the hospital now. And the objective is to answer this. How can we increase or improve the model and understand the time between the action and the impact on the problem, and how and why a lot of days it's more important a lot of days doing continuous improvement or high some specific day, specific peaks along the time. And okay, so this is the conclusion we have, and this was the project we did. Let's see if you guys have some questions. It's possible to understand. No? We had 1 hour presentation, exactly 58 minutes. So I need to reduce it to 10 minutes. Yeah, we will not pass a movie that day. So please, so what do you wanna? Do you have questions, Matthew?
For me, it was more the reason you used the engagement as a moment is just because it was a model that it was like a trend you could easily compare with a model. Because we spoke about engagement as a moment, engagement as an attribute. So what was the reason you used the prey versus the predator model? Just
Well, actually, the reason we used the prey model, the main reason was the energy related to the engagement.
okay.
Because it's two populations, predator as workers, as employees,
Okay.
and prey as a problem. So we are searching for problems and we are trying to
Okay.
kill them in a certain way. And the engagement will motivate us to keep doing this.
Okay, so in other words, you're defining your view of engagement, in this case would be engagement as a moment and not.
No, actually, the point with we still believe as attribute because it is once you give the opportunity through the continuous improvement, when you give them the space to speak, when you work with them to help, okay, we are doing this action, we are doing a plan of action here, we have a team to work together, we have the animation, we have visual control, we have standards, we can increase this engagement along the time. So it's not a moment that belongs to an individual, like that belongs just to me, but we can arrive in a project and increase this as a learning curve.
Okay.
So the engagement as attribute could be reflected in actions because the guys are doing actions and this working time is the action that they are doing. And it will reflect along the time that, okay, I'm not able to do my actions 8 years ago in that factory we saw in the movie, but now I can be engaged because I have this opportunity. So I can increase my engagement with the environment.
Okay, it just seems like the model that you're using is measuring engagement as per the engagement of the moment.
And maybe when I took the graph, when I show it, and when I ask the question, compare with this,
Yeah.
it's really clear, but maybe it's a wrong question. I should not do this because it's not related actually. When I saw it, I thought the same actually. When I put this and I saw this, I thought, okay, it's the same thing, but actually it's not related. And another point that I should improve here. This is the predator-prey for the balanced model, but we don't want this in the company.
Okay.
We don't want.
Maybe you should skip like the slides explaining engagement as moment and attribute. Maybe you should just skip that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, for 10 minutes presentation, I should skip that. Yeah.
I was just confused.
Yeah, true. And the point with our model, we don't want this. The perfect balance we wanna see is more like we have the problems, the big problems here. So we have a lot of problems here, and when we start the continuous improvement project, the problems is still there. They still have a balance, but it's lower element. So this is objective of problems, and we still have some problems because the company always have problems, but they're lower the objective. And the same thing for the continuous improvement time for actions. It will start low and after will become bigger. It's more like something like this. And the engagement or continuous improvement, we have an upper level and a lower level here, because we don't want to do 12 hours per day of continuous improvement because the guy has work to do, but we need to do a minimum level per day. So this one will keep inside here, and the problem will be below this level. So this is a good balance for us, and not exactly this one. Not exactly this one. This is a balance of a predator prey in the nature, and it's okay. But for us, we need this. So for sure, I need to do this graph here to show the objective and compare is the right thing. And definitely the question to say, when you see this, what it represents better, it's not related at all. It's not a good question at all. So sorry for that. But thank you for your question. Yes.
I have a question related to Gallup. So you've been talking a lot of Gallup,
Mm-hmm.
and what I understand is you're trying to compare your methodology to Gallup.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, how does Gallup define engagement? Because like, if may, if it's not the same definition of engagement they use and the one you use, how can you actually compare? Like, you see what I mean? Like,
Yeah, very good
if
question.
it's not the same thing, I don't see how it
Why
can
you
be a
compare?
relevant comparison.
Yeah, it's a good point.
So
Very
maybe,
good point.
like, because at the end you're saying that we are seeing the balance between the models and stuff like that,
Yeah,
and maybe it would be interesting to point out like which parts of the Gallup definition you're like you're comparing your model with. Because maybe the Gallup definition is not, I don't know the Gallup definition of engagement. If it's not about like looking for improvements, as it's what you've been doing, maybe it's interesting to like actually show the differences between the two models.
That's a good point. Yeah. The actually we're not exactly comparing the definition of engagement of the two models, Gallup model and our model. We compare in reality there we compare the results of Gallup. So we use it. We bought the Gallup questionnaire survey, and we did in the company, and they answer us as a percentage. I don't remember exactly. I think it was 37% of not engaged uh, people, and it was similar to us before the project because we did Gallup at the beginning of the project, and we took the data before the project, so it was similar. But unfortunately, we never did the Gallup after the project. So it's hard to compare it again after the project. But the point we wanted to compare is Gallup is saying this company has a specific percentage of engaged person, not engaged, actively disengaged. And our model is also saying how percent of the company is engaged or not. Because the we can compare. This was trying to do at the beginning. The definition are different. The definition they believe as a moment, and we believe it as attribute. Then we can increase. But yeah, it should compare better. But actually, I had a bit of hard time comparing. I didn't put it in the article. I didn't put in the article because we never did Gallup after the project, so it lacks a little bit to compare both models.
My point was, I think it's important that you show what the definition you state as
to the definition from the loop.
Mhm.
Why is it different? Why is it the same?
Mhm.
And because, like, for example, if there are two different definitions, but that they yield to the same results, then it means that somehow it could mean that somehow they're kind of the same, and that improvement opportunities
Yeah.
search is important to engagement, or because what, like, with this model, so you're kind of trying to explain how engagement works in dynamic manner, but is it really the purpose of this, or the purpose is to show that improvement, like that continuous improvement, is an important part of having people engaged? Do you understand my question? Like, you're describing a model to show the dynamics of engagement, and in your definition of engagement, you're including continuous improvement. And my question is the goal of this, of, I don't know, your patient or others, this presentation, is it to share the model of engagement, or is it to show that continuous improvement initiatives play a good, an important part of having people engaged at work?
Well, the goal is to provide a new method to measure engagement,
Okay.
and so the equations is a tool we do to measure it, but to apply this, it's during a continuous improvement project. So maybe, I don't know, maybe even the title could be more specific, because here it's not specific, it's still not very specific, then it's during a continuous improvement. It's something very important, and we need to have a time of continuous improvement, so should be during a continuous improvement project.
Maybe for your presentation, it's important that you present clearly after, like, showing the title and presenting the people, saying, like, what I want to present today is this, and like where you want your people to, what you want your people to keep in mind after your presentation. Because then they, I guess, I don't know, but then they may be more focused on the presentation to understand how, like, this is the objective, I want you to remind me to recall this, and how do the different things you say relate to this objective.
We don't have an objective here, right? I just started my presentation.
Like, maybe you don't need to have a slide with the objective, you just need to state it in the beginning with your title. If the objective is really your title, like sharing the model, just say, I want to share the model with you, and then they're gonna, maybe it's gonna be easier.
Yeah, it's good. Very good point. Thank you. Very good point. Yeah. And it's before I was even thinking measure the time I was spending talking about this first part, and time talking about this part, because this is what I'm going to present. So I will do the introduction. I don't know if I will spend 1 minute starting the project, and 9 and 12 minutes talking about the equations and the results. But for sure I'm doing this, but I need to have a very strong first minute to understand the points here.
Like, to catch the people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to say then this, the presentation will be this. It's definitely not the same of the conference. It's not the same presentation, but this is the idea. We present. If actually, if someone reads the article, I more did a summary of the article. So if you guys read it, you will see all the explanation, all the difference between these. I put a lot of reference, the different people researching about this difference. I put a lot of references about the definitions because there are a lot of definitions and we did another one, why we did another one. So I explain all this in the article and I try to summarize the article here. But there I'm not exactly summarizing the article because it's a lot of things I cannot summarize. More commentaries.
Just on this side, the word grown is grown, growth.
If you're asking,
It's growth.
Grown.
Grown is the past participle of growth.
so it should be growth.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I can take note of it. So change it. It's already in the article like this, but I can change the presentation. Good. Any other points?
Can you go to the movie?
Yeah.
The three,
Which version?
here, can you put a small explanation like about for each part? What does it mean, for example?
Yeah.
Yeah, here.
So I had this idea. Well, here we don't have the explanation, right? Because I was thinking, just for you guys, not there, but I was thinking to write, as I did a little bit, write all the definitions to have something more participative or a class or something, to avoid a lot of informations in the slide and to respect the speed of learning as some are doing. But we can open the article. Oh no, we don't have the article here. In the definitions. So problems, time of problem, the difference between the goal and the real time.
You can put picture and no, like the example one you show us on the table.
You can just draw it
Yes.
and just put the equation slide.
Um,
You can put that, just
Not the real example. Comme l'exemple que tu nous as montré là pour chercher la balance, quelque chose comme ça.
Ah, c'est exemple-là?
Non, dans le tableau, tu nous as montré. Tu as dessiné ça
C'est exemple-là?
tout à l'heure, tu as dessiné quelque chose.
Ah, que j'ai désigné ici?
Ouais.
Oui, oui, oui.
Dans le tableau, tu peux mettre à côté
Oui,
des
oui, oui.
équations pour montrer quelle partie.
Ça, oui, mais ces graphiques-là que j'explique ça pendant l'article. Je n'aime pas ces articles-là parce que c'est comme des situations idéales, c'est ça on parle de situation idéale? Donc, ces graphiques-là, c'est situation idéale d'une compagnie vraiment engagée avec les gens qui travaillent beaucoup sur le travail d'amélioration continue. Et le numéro de problèmes, c'est au-dessus.
Mais c'est ça l'objectif, c'est de chercher l'idéal, c'est ça.
Ouais,
Alors,
c'est ça l'objectif.
mais pour moi, par exemple, je ne suis pas dans le domaine, je trouve un peu difficile de comprendre ces vidéos-là.
Ouais.
Mais
Mais
quelque
c'est
chose qui
horrible
est
de
comme...
comprendre.
plus facile comme tu l'as dessiné tout à l'heure. Pour moi, hein, je peux comprendre mieux.
Non, c'est pas. Non, peut-être je peux faire ces choses-là comme exemple. Ça, c'est le modèle. Donc, ici, qu'on ne peut pas voir, on peut voir sur l'ordinateur peut-être. Ici, on peut voir certainement. Mais ce modèle-là, j'ai fait ici, ça devrait arriver dans cette situation-là. Donc, on a fait 6 mois de projet. Si on continue ça, si tout ça passe bien, si ça continue bien, on va voir ces graphiques-là de façon que je fais ici.
Ça manque aussi l'objectif.
Oui, c'est comme essayer directement avec
Et numéroter les slides aussi. Parce que parfois, les gens ils vont poser la question, ok, est-ce que tu peux aller page 6 ou 7? Et je pense qu'il ne faut pas aller en détail dans des questions. Il faut montrer des 10 questions ou des 12 questions.
Oui, ça, je ne vais pas faire, certainement non. C'est juste pour donner pour lier avec les vidéos.
Il y a une slide.
J'ai même, je ne sais pas si j'ai le droit de faire ça parce que c'est des questions de galoupe.
Ici, là. Ou bien tu enlèves ça.
Oui, mais...
Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire
il y a deux questions qui concernent le base
Si tu n'as pas montré les questions, personne.
Oui, c'est ça.
Je veux juste en parler en disant que la manière dont on le fait aujourd'hui, c'est de manière as a moment. Et que c'est à travers justement ce questionnaire-là qu'on considère comme un moment. C'est bien ça qui est problématique. C'est là que tu pars, si je dis pas de bêtises.
Ouais.
Dans l'article, tu as parlé de ce modèle-là, Tu n'as pas parlé
Non, mais l'article, oui.
Ok.
Beaucoup sur mon article pour comparer.
Ouais.
Mais pour la présentation là-bas, je ne pense pas. Les choses que j'ai besoin de dire, c'est on utilise une méthode, c'est la méthode classique, pour comparer avec une nouvelle méthode, pour calibrer les nouvelles méthodes. Donc, je trouve le modèle classique, c'est ça. Pourquoi c'est classique? Parce que c'est déjà au marché, c'est plusieurs années qu'ils font ça. Ils font ça de cette façon. Mais on trouve que ce n'est pas la meilleure façon, parce que ça analyse les moments, pas les gens comme une caractéristique de gens. Donc, mais on utilise encore ça pour comparer les résultats.
Mais finalement, tu n'as pas comparé dans l'article. C'est ça le... Faut pas comme... Si tu dis...
On a comparé avant, parce qu'on a fait le galoup.
Mais pour la présentation, à mon avis, tu peux mettre l'objectif. Tu vas présenter ça comme literature review.
Ouais.
Qu'est-ce que c'est? Les outils existants, tu donnes un exemple. Et tu passes directement dans ton modèle à expliquer qu'est-ce que tu as fait et les exemples, parce que le temps est court. Et si tu vas perdre le temps à expliquer des choses qui existent, ils vont t'arrêter là, en plein milieu de ton modèle, là, et personne...
Je pense que c'est important de partir de ça parce que tu pars quand même d'un constat qui est qu'il y a deux définitions possibles et que le modèle qui existe aujourd'hui, à savoir Gallup, utilise une définition qui est celle du mouvement et que toi, tu aimerais bien le voir comme autre chose. C'est ton point de départ finalement, c'est ce pourquoi tu développes ton modèle.
Ouais.
Donc je pense que ça reste important de le mentionner, mais ça va être dans ta minute 30 d'introduction.
Ouais.
Aussi, est-ce que tu peux revenir ton modèle, là, les 3 équations? Ok. Pour toi, tu cherches ça, non? Ok. C'est quoi vraiment l'objectif? Est-ce que c'est minimiser, maximiser, trouver un enveloppe? Il faut
rester entre les deux.
Oui. Mais il faut vraiment le mettre parce que...
Ça, c'est important parce que c'est ça le plus important dans ton modèle.
Ouais.
Ça, c'est bien l'énergie.
Et est-ce que l'idéal, c'est de chercher un intervalle bien serré ou bien. C'est ça.
Ça, pour moi, c'est vraiment le plus important parce que, comme tu dis, l'énergie, c'est l'engagement. Et puis, sur les graphiques que tu as montrés, on ne voit pas l'engagement visuellement. Est-ce qu'il y a moyen de le représenter pour que les gens ils voient ce que c'est?
Donc, non. Pour le moment, je ne peux pas représenter ça dans les graphiques. Je suis capable de représenter les graphiques qui utilisent les deux ici. Et ça, je n'ai pas mis exactement, je n'ai pas mis ici. Non, mais non, c'est une chose améliorée. Mais j'ai écrit beaucoup, je pense que c'est clair là, dans l'article qui ont dit ici, on commence dans ce projet-là, le projet qui ont été présenté ici, on commence avec les deux et ça marche bien, on peut comparer avec les galop, ça marche bien. L'objectif, objectif de la deuxième partie, notre projet maintenant, c'est comment mettre ça ensemble. Il change beaucoup le modèle. Si on a deux équations, on a trois équations, change la configuration du modèle. Un travail de codage à faire pour agréger la troisième chose.
C'est quoi la troisième équation?
C'est ça, c'est la définition de engagement. Et ça, c'est la distribution d'engagement pendant le temps. Donc, tout ça, c'est la distribution de quelque chose pendant le temps. Ça va pendant le temps. Qu'est-ce qui contribue dans cette équation-là? Il a deux variables principales. The death rate of engagement. Et quand on a death rate, ça veut dire qu'il va réduire naturellement en façon de temps. Donc ça, on a besoin de trouver avec ces deux équations-là. Donc, on a besoin de trouver une façon de changer ici et comparer. C'est quoi les rates, comment on va réduire pendant le temps? Parce que ça, c'est une hypothèse. Si je n'outre pas l'engagement, il va réduire. Comme le temps d'amélioration continue. Si je fais rien, le temps d'amélioration continue va réduire. Ça, c'est l'hypothèse, mais c'est plus une assumption qu'une hypothèse. C'est une chose qui va arriver, qui en a des connaissances générales qui va arriver. Ils ne sont pas vraiment testés. Et les growth rate, la croissance des problèmes, ça veut dire si on ne fait rien pour éviter les problèmes ils vont agrandir d'une façon naturelle. Donc, ces deux rates ici, on a mis d'une façon hypothétique pour tester. Et on a besoin de faire la même chose avec ça. Et la communication ici qu'on va trouver pour les problèmes et le worker, donc ça c'est quand même pour améliorer, mais c'est comment la distribution d'informations va aider avec les actions d'amélioration.
Est-ce que le C dans le modèle du calculateur, ça représente quoi?
Il n'y a pas de C dans le modèle-là. Dans ce modèle ici, on n'a que deux équations.
Oui. Alors pourquoi tu parlais d'énergie qui avait dans le modèle?
Oui, mais je n'ai pas des équations ici. Mais le C d'énergie, elle est représentée dans les deux équations. Donc ça, c'est un changement à adapter. C'est vraiment un travail adapté parce que le modèle original, Predator Prey, il y a deux équations. Équation pour Predator, équation pour le Prey. Et il y a l'énergie, comme on peut voir ici, j'ai mis des équations dans l'article, je peux mettre ça ici aussi, mais il y a une variable, toutes ces variables-là, une deux équations. On a pensé dans première analyse de faire une troisième équation, même parce qu'on n'a pas vraiment prêt aussi pour mettre dans les deux équations. Donc, on met un troisième, on laisse à côté parce que c'est un travail de pas prépa quand même. Donc, on commence avec ça et après on travaille sur ça. Donc, peut-être on peut adapter les engagements ici une autre fois et refaire les modèles parce qu'on a fait une introduction. L'objectif, c'est de faire une introduction, présenter quelque chose et après adapter.
Ok. Après, quand on peut dire l'engagement est bon ou bien pas bon? Comment tu peux dire ça?
On peut dire ça quand on arrive sur ce graphique que j'ai fait ici.
Ok, mais tu as le upper limit et le lower limit, c'est ça?
Oui, oui, oui.
Ok.
On peut voir ça quand ces graphiques-là, on a ça pas vraiment haut parce que ici c'est super, c'est plus que on a un average ici, donc on n'a pas un lower et maximum, mais on besoin voir ça entre le lower et le upper et ça plus bas. Ça c'est bon.
C'est pour ça que je t'ai dit, ajoute un petit graphique simple pour expliquer les équations. Voilà, l'objectif c'est de trouver ces pics-là entre les deux lignes. Ok, je dois aller, désolé.
Non, bon, merci. Merci, merci.
Ok, allez, salut.
Tu veux un gâteau?
Oui,
Merci.
allez, salut.
Salut. Un jour pour la fête, mais ça peut être trop de temps.
That's great. Merci, my friend.
Ouais, c'est là, on va pas. Là.
I don't know if it's possible to understand.